Hey guys, so this is our final. So I'm gonna be talking about the wager first. And so the wager is basically Plato's. He talks about not Plato's, Pascal's. Sorry. He talks about how if you believe or if you don't believe, and what the wager and your pros and cons in those. So like if you believe, then your pros are if you're right, then you get to go to heaven, and if you're wrong, then no harm, no foul. But if you don't believe, then and you're wrong, then you're going to go to hell for eternal damnation, and you're wrong. But if you were right, then no harm, no foul. So there's both pros and cons for both of them, if you believe or if you don't believe, and if you're right and if you're wrong. And that is what the wager is about, basically, is this he's just explaining to you, oh, if you believe this, then that's okay because this will help you, and if you believe that, then that's okay because this will help you. So for my second block, we're going to be talking about Denton's ethics in a nutshell, but we're talking about chapter 2. So that is what is ethics. So what is ethics is basically your reasoning guide to what is right and what is wrong, what is morally correct and what is morally not correct, and that's my dog, and what you shouldn't do and what you should do, and how you determine what is morally correct and what is morally wrong. And that's basically what ethics is all about. Is ethics is trying to give you reasoning to be like, oh, well, this is morally correct, but this is not morally correct. And maybe some think this is morally correct, but then others are going to think that this is not morally correct. Just like if someone thought that letting out child eating monsters out of jail and we let them go eat them, that's not morally correct because the children didn't do anything. They don't deserve to be eaten by monsters. But if you thought that was morally correct, then you need to look over your ethics and figure out why and how it was morally correct to you. And then my third block is going to be the desire for more, Trimble's lessons from Plato's. So the reason why I want to talk about this one is because it connects with the wager and ethics in a nutshell, and then here, but I'll get to that later. So for this one, what it's talking about is basically the desire for more is killing us, because once you want more and more and more, you're never going to be satisfied. You're never going to be happy. So we truly know what is going on with life. So like animals, like for the absurdity part, animals don't know what's going on, but we know what's going on. So that's why we want more, because we know that life is short. For example, how I said in my video that I went out and bought a Jeep so I could impress people because I wanted more. That's what I did. And I didn't really get more. I ended up getting the same boy that I've had since I was 16, and life is pretty great. But the desire for more is just killing us because we're never going to be satisfied. And since we're never going to be satisfied, then we have nothing to justify why we did what we did. So basically, if you're being a doctor so that you can go and help people because you think you should be the bigger person, then good, be that bigger person. Find the cure for cancer. But if you're doing it to satisfy yourself, you're not going to satisfy yourself because you don't have anything to justify as to why you're doing that, because you're going to find something else that you need to fix. And you're going to have to try to justify why you need to fix that. And you're just going to keep going on and going on and going on. Because this world can be cruel sometimes. And there's a lot of things that we need to fix, and a lot of things that we can't fix, and a lot of things that we need to justify as to why we should fix them and why we shouldn't. So after briefly summarizing those three things, my original argument is that first, if you take Pascal's wager, so you're going to take the wager and you're going to decide if you believe or if you don't believe. So if you believe and you are correct, then the ethics in a nutshell is going to connect, because you found out why you are morally correct to believe. You gave yourself evidence to understand why you are morally correct to believe. And then if you chose not to believe, then ethics in a nutshell, chapter 2, is going to help you find your morally reason as to why you don't believe. So that's why those two connect, because like I said, you have the wager. You're going to pick which one you want to. You believe or you don't believe. You are right, you are wrong, okay? And then you take chapter 2, you take your reasoning guide, and it's going to help you justify as to why you are morally correct for your right or for your wrong. And then for for block 3, your desire for more is killing us, this is going to actually cease. So that's going to be my conclusion, is that desire for more is killing us is going to cease, because once we figure out, hey, if I'm morally correct for believing this, then I don't have to continue to worry and try to make my life this big grand thing, because I know I am morally correct for believing this and I feel justified in believing it. And that is the only way I feel that the desire for more is killing us can actually be justifiable. Like how I said when I was summarizing it, is that you have to justify everything, and that's why we're never satisfied. But if 1 goes with 2 and you can figure out your morally correct reasonings, then 3 is actually going to be gone. We're not going to be killing ourselves anymore, because you will be satisfied with your answer. You will feel morally correct. Even if people around you don't think you're morally correct, you will have evidence to back yourself up, and you will understand why that you believe that. So again, just so it's easier to understand, first one is Pascal's The Wager. And you're going to decide if you believe or if you don't believe. You're going to pick which side of the wager you're on. Once you pick which side you're on, number 2 is going to connect. And here's my argument, is that number 2 is going to help you decide if you are morally correct for choosing your side of the wager. And then number 3, the desire for more is killing us, is actually going to be over with, because once you have figured out that you are morally correct for deciding your part of the wager, you won't be desiring more, because you are just going to live your life to the fullest and not really care about what is going on, because your satisfaction is going to be full and you are going to feel way better about your life once you understand this. So now for the hard part. So the plausible rejections, there's actually a couple. So for one, the wager, there's not really any plausible rejections as to why you chose what sides of the wager you're on. That's completely optional. That's your choice. So there's no rejections right there. But your rejections can start once you try to find what is morally correct. So someone can walk up to me and say, hey, your argument is objectified because everyone's going to believe something morally correct is different. But that's the thing with the philosophy, is that philosophy, you want to try to figure out stuff. So even though I might not believe the same as our teacher believes, that's okay, because I have justified myself and I feel satisfied with my answer. Now, if I don't feel satisfied with my answer, then I can go back and do more research and keep reading and keep understanding why I chose that, or maybe I might even change my answer to what our teacher believes or what one of the other classmates believe. But either way, once you figure out why you think you're morally correct, then it's going to justify you. You don't have to listen to what someone else is going to say. And so that's why the rejection is actually going to be wrong for that, because philosophy doesn't really take notice in what other people say. It's what you think is going on and what you have came to understand in that reading. Like we've said all year long, people are going to understand different things from different readings or from the same readings. And so that doesn't really reject my argument. And the last one you can reject is that you're never going to be satisfied, because like I said when I was summarizing block 3, the desire for more is killing us, that you can never be satisfied. Well, if you actually 100% finally complete step 1 and 2, then you will actually be 100% satisfied, and you can't reject that. But if you don't 100% do it and you think you did, then there is a plausible reason for you to reject my argument, because you didn't 100% fulfill what you were supposed to be doing. So that's the rejections I think I have, and I hope you guys understand my argument. If you don't, I can explain it more, but I hope you guys have great on your finals.